Do you believe a word Westminster politicians say about what they're going to do for the North after all the years of disappointments?
When I was elected, it was only 5 years ago. Theresa May was Prime Minister. I've been through 4 Prime Ministers, 6 Chancellors. It's like being a Premier League football manager. You do 2 seasons and you're one of the longest serving. So I've heard a lot of promises that don't come true. I know, Angela, I trust that Angie's heart is in the right place. I absolutely do. And I think actually Michael Gove's heart is in the right place on this, to be honest. But what I don't see is any numbers coming out of it. There was the Convention of the North yesterday, and then they were both questioned after their respective speeches by Clive Myrie. And he says, lovely sentiments, how much money? And they both evaded and evaded and evaded because, and actually Michael Gove even went the lengths of saying, yeah, but then there's the Treasury. And that's where it comes down to. So there's a million stats I could give you that the North has lower health outcomes, lower life expectancy, all of these things. The approach I've taken as mayor is I have done actually a remarkably good job of getting money out of central government. I've got more money out of them than anyone else, despite not being a Conservative. But that's never going to get us where we need. The way that you get long-term good health, the way that you get better education for kids, is getting everybody a good, well-paid job. And so that is about creating the investable opportunities here. So I, for example, set up a venture capital fund. I think we're the only public sector body that does that. So we directly invest in firms rather than giving out grants and a lot of people in the queue for government grants. We say, all right, you can have the money you need, but if you're successful, I want some back. And we've had cash outs already where there's money coming back to my combined authority to do this over and over again. We're the only place in the entire country that's opening a new railway line. We did that because when you put in a new railway line, the value of the land around it shoots up. And so we negotiated with the landowners and said, all right, if we put a station there, you've got to put some money in. We've got tens of millions of pounds in that way with our partners in Northumberland County Council, with central government money as well. But it's that partnership model, I think, is the way we've got to get there. And what I would love more money from central government. But what I want is the powers to put that sort of stuff on a legislative basis so that I can, if I want to open a new metro line, it doesn't require me going through a lot of negotiations, which are not always going to be successful. And I can say, look, you're getting a windfall. I want to keep half of that windfall, please. And that allows us to get our transport system up and running.
What? This is absolutely fascinating, I have to say, Jamie, because I receive most of my news through the prism of our newspapers and our television, national newspapers and our television, and I haven't heard a fraction of what you've just set out. Is it... And it all sounds wonderful, by the way. It sounds almost like Westminster is nervous or afraid of embracing this kind of thinking, progressive thinking. Why? What are they worried about? When I look around and they've got bankrupt councils, Tory councils that got bankrupt, the local authorities under terrible, terrible pressure. What are they afraid of when it comes to actually good ideas?
Yeah, I mean, the ability to see in the mind of another. So this is speculation. But from talking to MPs, from talking to my fellow mayors, Andy Burnham, Steve Rotherham, who used to be MPs, they say when you're down there, you're in this weird, almost public school environment of you're shouting from one side at someone else from the other side. You're told to march through the lobbies. You don't know what you're voting on. And I think when you're the mayor, you have no choice who's in your cabinet. So I have Conservatives and Labour members in my cabinet, automatically from the local authorities. It's their leaders. So you are forced into this much more mature approach of getting problems fixed. And I think that it's a fundamental problem. I think we need to change the constitution of Britain and have a different model.
Oh, have a constitution would be a nice start. Just before I let you go, an independent mayor, I'm fascinated about the rise of independent politicians. Why do you think the people of Tyne, what is it about the independent? Is there a distrust now of the big boys of Tory and Labour, or maybe all established parties?
There absolutely is. I've run roadshows, town hall meetings in 20 different towns across the region. And I've had Conservative councillors come up and say, I'm going to vote for you. I've had Reform people come up and say, I'm going to vote for you. Loads of people in the Labour Party actually campaigning for me. Greens saying, don't run a Green candidate, back Jane, because they want someone from their area. But I mean, this unusual position of being sort of an insurgent from the outside and the incumbent with a good track record. So, you know what? I think politics just has to change from, well, you've got two main parties saying pretty much exactly the same things on policy, but then somehow managing to pretend that they're mortal enemies. I mean, what actually are they arguing over?
Oh, Jamie, you're wasted up there. You should be on LBC with me, Jamie Driscoll, Mayor of the North of Tyne. What an absolute pleasure speaking to you this Saturday morning. Really, really excellent.